Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, I want to take a look at SQS, which is a simple queuing service. So what I'm going to do is open up our Git pod environment as per usual and get something provisioning here. So we'll give this just a moment to get spun up. And SQS is not too difficult to utilize. Normally when I use it, because I like Ruby on Rails quite a bit, they will already have an adapter to utilize it seamlessly, which I think is really nice. But you can also interact with it directly. So yeah, a lot of web frameworks will have a abstraction of it, but working with a queue directly is not too hard. We'll go ahead and make a new folder here. I'm going to call this one SQS. We're going to make a new folder here called basic. I might change that in a moment because there are two types of queues that we can have, standard and first out. So I'm going to just change this over to standard as we will work with that first. Yeah, I'm just going to rename this here standard. And, there's a few ways we can build it. I wonder if we could do this serverless. So I'm going to look up the SAM CLI or SAM CFN templates here, because this might be one way that we can create our queue. So if we go over here, you'll see that we have, it should be somewhere here. Queue. Sometimes they rename these things a bit differently. So I'm just looking here, application, connector, function, GraphQL API, HTTP API layer version, simple state machine. So I'm not seeing in here. I really thought it was part of SAM. So SAM SQS. No, I guess we just create a queue the regular way, and that's totally fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and create a new SQS queue. Just type in CFN SQS. And we'll go down to examples here. And it's really easy to create a queue. So we'll go down. Well, they got a lot of code here, but this is the simplest way to create a queue right here. We'll make a new file in here. We'll call this one SQS, or sorry, template, template.yaml. And we'll paste this in. We'll need the standard starting lines here. I'm going to go into any place that I have a CloudFormation template. Here's one. Okay, I'm going to paste this in. As such. Okay, excellent. So we have our sample queue. I'm just going to call this one standard queue because that's more of what it is. I think actually if we might be able to omit the name. Let's go take a look if that's possible. If we can, I'd rather AWS name it. Queue name. It's not required, but we're going to have something in here so it knows what this thing is. So I'm going to go down here. If set to true, create an FIFQ. So what I'm going to do is actually omit this one. And I'm going to rather just say false, so we know this is a standard queue. Let's go read through some of these other options so we can see what we have. So we have content-based duplication, delayed seconds, maximum message size, message retention period. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff here. I don't really want to tweak anything right now. I think that's totally fine. So we could always do that in another video to optimize queue settings. But this should be enough to create our queue. So I'm going to say a simple SQS queue. All right, and let's go ahead and get this ready for deployment. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder here called bin. And we'll make a new file here called deploy. I'm going to go grab a deployment script from somewhere. So I think in Kinesis we have them everywhere, but I think in this one we have our deploy script. Looks like I just have them loose in here, which is totally fine. I guess we could just not make it in a bin folder. It really depends if we're going to have more than one action. Yeah, I'm going to actually have it here in the bin directory this time around. And this is going to have to go up 2 directories because that's where the template actually is. This one's going to be called SQS queue, standard queue, for SQS standard, deploy, SQS standard. Remember, we have no execute change set, so we'll have to confirm this. I'm going to just double check and make sure that I have an active, I'll go to my AWS IAM or AWS CLI tab here, make sure that I have an active key. So I do. This is excellent. So let's go ahead and attempt to deploy this. Before we do, we're going to have to cd into that directory, SQS standard. And we'll chmod the bin deploy here. We'll go ahead and attempt a bin deploy. So this is kind of messing up. This happens with Gitpod sometimes. I have no fix for it. It might be one of my extensions. I'm just going to give this a nice reload. Give me just a second. And we should be back here. There we go. We'll go ahead and do a bin deploy. It's saying it cannot find the template. Well, I assume that it would have to look relative to where it is. So maybe like this. Would that help? No, does not like that. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll reference templates. I remember having reference code somewhere around here. It was for, I think, Lambda. So I'm just going to go into Lambda and steal some code in our Lambda section here. In our bin, probably any of these will have it. So yeah, here I could say the root path, which would expand here. And then I can get the template here as such. And the way this should work is it should, like wherever we execute is what this should be set as, and then we can get that relative to there. And so that should fix our issue there. So we'll go ahead and try that. So hopefully that fixes our issue. We'll type in clear. We'll go ahead and try this again. Invalid template path, standard template YAML. The key difference here is this is YAML. We called it YML for SAML because they tend to name them that way, which is kind of annoying. We'll wait for our change set. We'll make our way over to CloudFormation here. Okay. And we have our SQS Standard Queue. We'll go to change set. We'll click into it, and we have our standard queue. So we'll go ahead and execute that change set. So this should not take too long as queues create very quickly. And we have a problem, surprisingly. Considering how simple this is, I didn't think we'd have an issue here. Unknown attribute FIFOQ. Really? Maybe we didn't put this under the correct location. I'm really surprised that's wrong. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Did we provide the type? We did, yes. And by the way, while we're here, we might as well go ahead and grab this URL and put it in here. So we have a good reference of where we are. But we'll go back and take a look. So FIFOQ, if set to true, create a FIFOQ. I copy that again. Paste that. I mean, that, I don't know how more uncomplicated that could get here, but let's carefully read this maybe. Resource handler return message unknown attribute FIFA queue. Oh, did we name our queue? This is something yeah, it's right here. Weird. Give me just a second, okay? All right, so some people are suggesting that FIFO queues are only available in 2 regions, but we're actually just doing a standard one. So I'm not exactly sure why that's an issue. And also, we're in CA Central 1 here, and there's no restriction that I'm seeing. So I don't believe this. I don't think this is true. But yeah, give me a moment to continue looking. Not exactly sure what the issue is. I've moved it up 1 here, and what I'm going to do is attempt to delete the stack and try this again. We can always just remove it and have the name, but it's bizarre that I'm not able to set that. And see, that's a pretty straightforward template. It's really bizarre that that would not be working. We'll go ahead and give this another try here. We'll give this a refresh. We'll go into change sets. We will execute the change set, and we'll see if this fails again. We should not have to wait very long, as this is normally very quick. Still the same issue. This is bizarre. What if I make this true? Okay, does it only work in the true case? Because how am I going to make it a FIFO queue if it does not let me specify it? And we could try changing the region to see if that makes any difference. But it'd be very confusing if this shows it here, but we can't do it in the CLI the same way, or the CloudFormation. So give this a moment to delete. Should not take that long. All right, so I've deleted that stack. We'll give this another attempt here while setting it's true. We don't really want to create a first in, first out queue, but I'm just trying to figure out the parameters as to why this is messing up, because it is kind of bizarre having such a simple configuration decide not to work. So we'll go ahead and execute this. And if it does work, then maybe it's just the fact that it doesn't like it when it's in a false state for that, which I don't know why that would be, but we'll see what we come up with here. So we'll give it a moment here to hopefully tell us what it'll do here.
Step forward for the series.
All right, so take a look here, and it works in this case. So that is bizarre. So I'm thinking what's happening here is that it just does not like it if it's set to false. So what we'll do is we'll take this out. But I'm going to need to have some other value, as I don't believe we can just create one without properties. I mean, we could try and see what happens. I usually always assume there has to be a single property. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this queue. And then we'll go ahead and try to deploy it without any properties. All right, so I've deleted that stack. We're going to go ahead and deploy it again. And this time we're going to have it without the properties and see if it will take it. I assume, again, there has to be at least one property, but maybe it's just been a while since I've attempted to deploy without that. We'll go ahead and go to our change set, and we will execute that change set. And we'll give it a moment to finish the deploy, okay? All right, so our SQS Standard Queue is spun up, and so that's surprising that that one property was so confusing, but that's okay, we figured it out. We'll go into here and we'll take a look at our queue. I remember we can send and receive messages within the queue here. Normally, like when you set up SQS with something like Shuriken on Ruby on Rails, it just kind of works and you don't really have to fiddle with it too much. But there are stuff that we can do. So we could add a Lambda trigger. We can pipe it into Event Bridge. We can have a dead letter queue. Apparently we can have SNS subscriptions. So there's a lot of direct integrations, but we want to interact with this directly. So let's go ahead and send a message to the queue. Go ahead and here just say, hello world. Hello world. And I don't want to delay it. I just want to go ahead and send it. So the idea is that we see the message is received. We can pull for messages so that we can see the message. We can click into it and we can see that message, okay? So pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and just delete it because we have now received that message. But let's programmatically actually do that because that's one of the ways you're going to be doing that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the AWS CLI here. And actually, you know what? I think in this case, we should programmatically do it because that is the most common way you're going to interact with the queue. We'll use the CLI first and then we'll do some coding, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and type in AWS CLI. We'll go ahead into here and I just want to go to AWS and we'll look up SQS. SQS. And we'll go into here and there we have create queue, which we don't need. So we have send message. We can send mass messages, which is fine. What I'm looking for is the pull. So somewhere in here, yeah, receive message. Here it is. Okay. So we have a send and receive. We'll go down below here. We'll copy this. And we'll make a new file here. We'll call this one send. And we'll paste this in. I can go back over to our deploy script here. Just grab this first line. We'll just add a quick comment here. Paste. Send. We're going to bring these down onto new lines, so this is a little bit easier to look at. Okay. And we're going to need a queue URL, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in queue URL up here, and then I'll just get our queue URL. So we'll go to our queues. And we want the URL. There we go. We'll go ahead and paste that in there as such. We'll bring this down onto a new line. So we'll say $queue URL. Hello Mars. I'm not going to delay the message. Message attributes. Let's go take a look at what we can do for that. So attributes. I'm not really sure what we'd want to do for attributes. So a list of attributes that need to be returned along with each message. So we can tell it to return all or specific things. I'm not sure what the default is, but I think this is attribute names. Is that what we're doing here? It says message attributes. Where is it? Message attributes. Why is this slightly different than what we have? I mean, we copied it from the, this is the receive example. That's why I'm getting confused. So we'll grab the send one. We'll take a look at the message attributes here. Each message attribute consists of name, type, and value. Okay. The user specified message attributes. So can this be whatever we want to pass along? Let's go take a look here at the documentation. Lets you include structured metadata such as timestamps, geospatial data, signatures, identifiers with messages using message attributes. You can have up to 10 message attributes. So can we make this whatever we want? It seems like we can. So yeah, maybe we'll do that for fun. So I'm going to go ahead here and make a new file. Just call this message attributes JSON. And this file will be message attributes. We'll actually rename that to send message, I suppose. Just make our lives easier. Send message. This is up a directory, or it should be at least. I'll leave it in place because I have a feeling that it'll probably work in place. Or what we could do is we could just grab the root path here and just absolutely set it. Then there's no confusion here. We'll grab this one here. Say send message JSON. We'll say message attributes path. And this will be message attributes. So that's a file in front of it here. File : // message attributes path. We'll put a $sign in front of that. And so that should, in theory, do what we want it to do. So we'll go ahead and type in clear here. And I'm going to go ahead and chmod this file. Bin send. And then we'll attempt the send here. Probably should spell send correctly so it works. Not sure what its issue is. It doesn't like something here. I mean, this looks fine. This examples SQS Standard. That looks fine. This is really long, so I'm not sure if that's the problem. We'll go ahead and hit enter and see what it says. Expected equals. Oh, well, there's nothing in this file. So that might be something we might want to do here. So we have each message consists of name, type, and value. Okay. I'm going to assume this is an array. We'll have name, type, and value. Just say fruit. Actually, the type's probably going to be a specific thing. So the user specified attribute for the string data value attribute has the same restrictions on the content type message. That's fine. Oh, okay. And then the value actually has to be what it is. So if it's a string, then we have to actually specify string value. Let's go down below and here, take a look. So, oh, this is really not the structure that I thought it was. Okay. So really is like this. So we'd say string. And I guess that's curly's too. String value. Apple. Let me just carefully read this so I can make more sense of it. I mean, that certainly is confusing, but I think we can name this whatever we want. So I can just put here fruit. And let's see if this actually works. So we'll go ahead and try this again. Bin send. We have a problem here. Missing required parameter in the message fruit data type. It'd be really nice if they show it right down here. I was going to complain saying like, hey, they're not making it clear. But it was there, and I'm the one at fault here. So let's try this again. We'll go ahead and hit send. And it says the type of the message user attribute fruit is invalid. You must use only the following supported type prefixes. Okay. String. What a weird syntax. Okay, well, give me a second here. I wish this was more clear. So here's an example of one. I mean, like that kind of looks like what we were trying to do here, so I'm not exactly sure what its issue is. I'm going to go ahead and type in fruit. Maybe it wants a capital on the S. That might be the issue here. There we go. Might be case sensitive. There we go. So let's go back over to our queue, and we'll go to send and receive. We'll go down and pull for the message. We'll go into the message. We're looking at attributes, and there's our attribute. So obviously we can set different types of things here. Booleans, numbers, all sorts of things. But we'll go ahead and delete this message. Let's go ahead and now receive the message. So basically what we're just doing with the polling, which is very similar. We'll go ahead and make a new file here. We'll call this one receive. So maybe I spelled receive right there. I always seem to spell that wrong. We'll go ahead and copy this. I'm sure it's going to be very similar. Receive. And we'll go into the receive example down below. We'll go ahead and grab this one. And we'll just paste it on below here. So yeah, we have our queue URL. Attribute names, we can say all. Message attribute names, all. Max number of message, 10. And so we'll type in queue URL. Okay, so we'll go ahead and chmod this file. And so now we've received the message. Now that does not necessarily mean it removed it from the queue. Let's go take a look here. And well, hold on. Did we not delete it from the queue? So how is there anything in here? Let's go here and take a look. Pull for messages. No, there's something here. Okay. So you can see that we're polling. I'm still polling here. I'm going to see what happens if I think we can both poll at the same time, right? Yeah, we can. So if we look at this and compare them, now we have 2 in here. Receive message. Oh, you know what the problem is? I'm doing it twice. I was wondering like why it was working, even though there wasn't anything there. But we'll go ahead and try this again. And notice we're only getting 1 here. I'm going to just stop polling for a second. Clear content. So we'll pull messages again. And so we're getting 3. We go back over to here. Why do we only get 1 back? That's interesting. Like the other one gets 3, this one gets 1. Let's go take a look at receive. You think because we say max number of messages that we get the maximum that there are. The maximum number of messages to return. Amazon SQL never returns more messages than this value. However, fewer messages might return. Valid is 1 to 10. All right, whatever. But anyway, at least we're getting a message. I'm not sure why we don't see all of them. I think this will be less of an issue when we are using the code. But anyway, we have this information. So I'm guessing that we have to use another SQL command or AWS CLI command to actually read the message. So we receive the message. Okay. Now how do we actually look at it? Go purge message, deletes the available message in the queue specified by the queue. Okay. That's fine. That'd empty the whole queue, but I want to be able to read the message. So I'm guessing maybe it's like get queue attributes. Example. Yeah, I didn't think this would be so hard. Let me go figure that out. 1 second. All right, carefully reading the CLI, it looks like the output, it would actually output the body here. But it must be encoding it for a reason. So there must be some other setting that we are forgetting to set here. Or there has to be something set out longer for timeout. Maybe it's visibility timeout since we're not actually setting that. That the message receives are hidden from the subsequent required request. No, I don't think that's it. Let's go over here and just take a look at the attributes. So we have all and all for message attributes. So, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. The name of the message attributes where n is the index. And we set all here. Use standard attribute receive. You can return all attributes specifying all or in your request. You can also use all the message attributes starting with a prefix of bar. Okay. Still, I don't see the information here. So, yeah, there has to be a reason why this is happening. I'm going to pull all messages. I'm going to delete them again. Let's just delete them all. Delete. Any messages in here, let's just delete them. Stop pulling. I'm gonna give this a nice hard refresh here. And let's go back to our original send message. Number of messages. So let's go ahead and maybe read a bit more about this, because maybe there's something in here that we're supposed to be setting that's causing our issue here. We'll go back down to our example. I'm going to remove something. Delayed seconds. So let's go ahead and just read about that. The length of time in seconds for which to delay a specific message. I mean, that's what I thought it was, so that's not exactly what I want. We'll go back over to here. Let's just see what we set for the actual message. You know what? It doesn't even look like we set a body, so maybe that's why I'm not getting a body back. That would explain a lot. We'll go ahead and do this. Does it have to be base64 encoded? It doesn't say that it has to be, so we'll go ahead and just put in hello world as the first thing. Message attribute names is all, attributes names is all. So we'll go ahead and try this. So we'll try the send first. And it doesn't like something. Oh, you know what? It's supposed to have 2 hyphens in the front here. We'll try that again. Unknown option message body. It's right here. Are you crazy? Oh, this is in the receive. So I'm in the wrong area. That's why. That would definitely mess it up. I guess I just thought that that one was open, but it wasn't. Oh no, it's going here. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. This is our receive, which is our send. And this is our receive. So these are backwards. I'll go take this one here. Put that one. Come on, copy and paste. Give me a break here today. Cut. Paste. Cut. Paste. And what's this doc for? The send message. So I'm going to cut this and paste this here. Yeah, if you get things backwards, it's definitely not going to work. So for this, we don't need the attribute path because we're not actually using that here. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this again. So go bin send. So that makes more sense. That's what we were actually seeing there. And so we'll do bin receive. And there's something wrong here on the receive. Oh, well, this message body is not supposed to be here. Let's take that out. Okay, and so now it looks a lot more normal. And so we are getting our body, hello Mars. We're getting attribute information. I feel like to get the attributes, maybe there actually are here. Yeah, there it is. So we can actually get that data out of there. That is great. I don't believe, does that remove it from the queue? I don't think so. Let's go pull the message. Because if we received it, I would assume that it would just pop off the queue, right? Nope, there it is. Okay. So I think to get rid of it, we have to do that as a separate command. So we'll go back up here, SQS. And let's just carefully look here. So we have send message, receive message, delete message. So once we receive it, then we would want to delete it. And so here we would just provide the receipt handle. So if we look at this here, there it is right there. So I'm not going to bother programmatically doing that. I don't think that is important. But what I would like to do is write a bit of code here so that we can go ahead and send and receive the queue, because that is going to be the real way that we're going to do this. I'm going to use Ruby because it's super easy to do that. So we'll go ahead here and just type in, we'll just make a folder called Ruby here. And I'm going to make 2 files. We're going to have a send.rb and a receive.rb. Just understand that Ruby is already pre-installed on this machine, so you might have to install that. I'm using version 3.2.3. I'm going to go bundle init here, so we're going to initialize our bundler. And in here, I'm going to add a gem here. So gem, I'll add aux because we'll definitely need that. Usually I add no kugiri, I just can't spell it. STK SQS. We'll go ahead and type in bundle install to install those gems. And then what we'll do is go over to our send and we'll just, our send, and we'll say require SQS. It's probably gonna be like send and pull, not necessarily send and receive. But we'll type in SQS Ruby SDK version 3. And we'll go over here. So here we have our SQS configuration. We're gonna need this first. That's usually what we need. This is going to be picked up by the local environment variables that are set, so I don't need to worry about that. And in here, we want to send a message. I'm going to see if there's like a pull. There isn't. Is there a receive? There is. So it's very similar, I guess. We'll have our send and our receive. So here will be our send. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this here. And so we'll need our queue URL. So I'm going to hard code this. You could set it as an environment variable. I'm just not going to do that here today. I don't care. And we'll go into our send. We'll go ahead and copy this. Paste. Whoops. Queue URL. So that will be queue URL. Hello, Ruby. Delay in seconds, and now we have some message attributes, so that's kind of nice that we have that there. I guess we didn't explore system attributes. I don't care about system attributes. We'll take those out. I don't care about these. We'll just go ahead here and say fruit, apple. All right, looks pretty darn similar. Now what we'll do is type in bundle exec. So we're running this in the context of bundler, so it picks up the gems we installed, the libraries. It has an issue here. We're missing a comma. There probably shouldn't be a trailing comma here. Ruby does not like that, like other languages do. It's not tolerant about those. Could not load such file SQS. Oh, you know what? This should be AWS SDK SQS. That's why. Still has an issue here. What's our problem? Cannot load such file. No, that's the old one, isn't it? Yeah, so it's here. Missing required parameter, message attributes. Data type. Oh, yeah, sorry. So we'll need to have the data type in here. Data type string. And we'll go ahead and try this. So that should have sent a message. I'm not going to pull it here. I'm just going to go ahead and write the other implementation. I'm pretty confident that, that worked correctly. We're going to go ahead and just copy these lines here. And we'll go back over to our receive and paste this in here. And we'll go over to our receive code, which is here. And so we'll have our queue URL. All attributes seems great to me. I'm pretty sure we can set this as all as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that out. We can leave that all alone. There's only one message to be received anyway, and so I think this is sufficient. We'll go ahead and give this a go. The only thing is that we're not constantly logging anything out, so I'm going to just make one little change here. I'm going to go to our gem file. I'm going to add pry. I'm going to require it up here so we can kind of programmatically debug this. We'll say binding pry. And what we'll do is just do a bundle install here. Bundle install. And we'll go ahead and try this again. It has an issue with this one, message attribute names. I thought we could set this as all. If we go over here, see, we were able to set it like that, so why can't we do that there? I think before it said we could do like a wildcard, so maybe we'll just do that instead. Maybe it wants this. I kind of remember reading that. No, it doesn't like that. We'll just take it out. Max, oh, this is missing a comma here. Maybe that was working before, we're just missing that comma. So the idea is that we have that binding price so we can type in the response and see what we get back. And so in this structured data, we have our messages. So if I type in a res messages, we can see our messages. And if we wanted to delete the receipt handle, then we could get that there. So we'll go ahead and just do this. Whoops. Try that again. Resp. Oh, you know what? It's an array, right? So we'd say like first message here. We'd probably want to iterate through it if we did this. So in this, what we would do is we'd say resp messages each do message, and then here I could say message dot receipt handle. Okay, so we could puts that. There's obviously other stuff in here. So we have the body. So we could say puts message body. It's just body. Puts message attributes. Because this is a weird structure, I'm going to do inspect. It's like a way of taking objects and just kind of expanding them into something readable in Ruby. We'll go ahead and type in exit here. Type in clear. We'll go ahead and execute this again. So notice up here that it's printing. So it's doing exactly what I wanted to do. The idea is that we want to get this message receipt handle, and we're going to use that to delete it. So we're going to just take this and just say handle here, assign it to a variable called handle. And then what we can do is then go ahead and delete this out of the queue. So we'll go back to our Ruby code. It'll probably be like delete message. And then we'll bring this here. We'll paste it in. And so we'll have the queue URL again. And then this time we'll have the handle. Okay. So we'll exit. We don't have any binding price, so it should just proceed forward. It probably has a spelling mistake. We'll go ahead and copy that, paste. We'll try this again. Still doesn't like it. Oh, we have to put message in front of it, of course. We'll try this again. We spelled Q wrong. Now we'll try it. Great, and so it's deleted the message. If we try it again, we should get nothing back. Try this again. So notice we're getting nothing back because it deleted it. We read it from the queue. But again, there are more convenient ways of using it. So, you know, Ruby on Rails, we have something called showruken. It's very hard for me to spell. And the idea is that a lot of web frameworks, you'll just install it and it'll work with the existing system in your web framework. And you don't have to worry about it so much. But this was the example for the standard queue, which it doesn't matter what order we receive messages in. It just happens however it's going to happen. So, you know, we could probably simulate that before we move on here, which might be a good idea. And the way we do that is we just need to create more messages here. So what I'll do is go ahead and just create a bunch of messages here. I'm gonna delay this, like this will be 1 second, 2 seconds. I don't know if we can send these all at the same time. I don't want to flood the queue. So I'm just gonna go like hello 1, hello 2, hello, wait. Why aren't these delaying? Hold on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then we'll match these. 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and execute this. We could have done this programmatically, but I figured we'll just do it this way here. Bin, and we'll say send. Oh, sorry. Bin send. There we go. All right, and so that will send the messages. We'll just wait 10 seconds, and then we'll check the receive. And what we're looking for is to see the order that's coming back here. All right, so let's go ahead and try to receive the messages. I remember when we did this before, we were only getting one, which was a bit confusing, but maybe we'll have to adjust to find out. What we want to find out is what message we receive first. Notice that it says 2, okay, 3, 5. They're not in order, and we only got 3, which is fine. But my point is that the order which we were seeing these in is not... No, notice it's 1, 4. Okay, we'll try this again. Now we're getting nothing. All right, but everything has been, there we go. Now we get 2, 4, 5. All right, so again, notice the difference in consistency in terms of what we're receiving. So I think that pretty much demonstrates everything I wanted to show with SQS Standard. There's, of course, a lot of features of SQS queues, like dead letter queues, integrations with other stuff. That's for a different video, but this satisfies basic uses of Standard. And I'll see you shortly as we attempt FIOs, or FIFO, first in, first out, in the next one, okay? Ciao. Oh, yeah, just before we go, make sure you just tear down your, your stack there, okay? So, yeah, but see you in the next one, okay?